Well, folks, I'd meant to do this one yesterday, but time beat me. And I've just been sort of under the cosh all weekend, what with the house move and whatever else. But yeah, Willie Mullins there, old Willie. I did mention him a week ago, or a bit longer now, saying how disappointed I was in him. I bet him last year to be British champion jockey. He decided to do it this year. Alright, he didn't win the Grand National last year. Had he have done, he probably would have been champion. But even without the National last year, he could have still won it if he'd have sent some big guns over to the later big meetings in England, but decided not to bother. Unfortunately for me, because I am Maximus won the Grand National, he realised he'd be stupid not to go for it, and in the end he's won it by about 300,000 from a very unlucky Dan Skelton, who probably thought he was going to win his first after beating his nemesis there. You know the fella, Paul Nicholls and whatever else. But anyway, for all he beat Nicholls, he couldn't beat Willie. No, I wanted to say well done. I mean, I was joking the other day that Willie's done me head in, but I love him. I think he's great, Willie Mullins. Absolutely great. And yes, he's got a stranglehold on national hunt racing. He has, and it's unfortunate to an extent, but also to an extent, it's got to be applauded and admired. He's done fantastically well. Don't know if anybody's seen the interview with Ruby Walsh yesterday on Racing TV. Is it Racing TV UK? I can't remember which it is anymore. I never remember. There was a shorter one on ITV, but the Racing UK TV one was much better. If you've not seen it, it's on YouTube. I seen it on YouTube last night. And he was spoken to for about 7 or 8 minutes. And some of the things he said really opened my eyes a little bit. I mean, one of the things he said, look, Patrick's already said, only a few years ago now, he lost a quarter of his stable when O'Leary took all his horses away. And within a year, 18 months, he built it back up to what it was and more. He said that would have finished many people. It didn't finish Willie. It just got even stronger, made it more his business to get new owners and speak to his current owners and try to bring more horses in. He said, but the things that people don't realise with Willie Mullins is, he said, number one, he said, everybody says about how much ammunition he's got and how much money he has got to formulate that ammunition. He said, I'll tell you now, he is absolutely fantastic with the owner's money. He really is. He doesn't get hundreds of thousands and spends it willy-nilly. He sources horses from absolutely everywhere and he buys the right horses. Now and again a horse will let him down, but more often than not he's seen things within them horses that make them ideal candidates for his stable. He said he's brilliant with the client's money, he really is. He said, but the thing that I most take my hat off about with Willie Mullins is this. He said, in the late 90s, I think he said the late 90s, 98, 99, he said Ireland was on its knees. The racing industry was struggling. He said, if you'd have told any Irishman, he said, in the late 90s, that Willie Mullins, from where he was, which was virtually brand new to training, for all he come from good stock, was going to be champion Irish trainer, they'd have probably looked at you funnily. But if you told them within 20 odd years, not only would we have an Irish trainer being top trainer in Ireland, but also top national hunt trainer, when at that time it'd not been done for nigh on 50 years since Vincent O'Brien did it, he said they'd have laughed at you. And if you'd have told them Willie Mullins was going to do the double and win them both, they'd have thought you were absolutely mental, because Willie was just starting out and you would never have seen it. He said if you'd have been told that now, this year now, you'd have Willie Mullins sat there on 100 winners at Cheltenham, they would think you're absolutely crazy. It was coming at a time when we'd go to a festival and we might have 1, 2 or 3 winners. It was dominated massively by the big stables in England. He said, we were nowhere near it. We were absolutely nowhere near it. He said, and Willie's built something up there from nothing, from absolutely nothing. And then when it looked really dodgy, as I say, a few years ago, and O'Leary took his horses out, he's built it a second time, but to make it even stronger. He said, what he's done is phenomenal. It really, really is. And the way he put it, the way he contexted it and what he said was really, really, well, it was really good. And it really made you believe what kind of task Willie's had over the last few years and how he's rose to it and what he's done. It's a fantastic feat, it really is. It really, really is. And I'm over the moon for him, I really am. So much so that I believe in coming years now we might look at doing it again. I think O'Brien did it once, 2 years on the bounce. And he said he might look at it seriously next year. So I thought, I wonder what price it'll be. Now, somebody did tell me, just after Cheltenham, when he wasn't that far behind Nicholls and your other man. See, I'm not working with the scripts here, folks, so I do apologise, Skelton. Somebody did say to me that although he wasn't that far behind them and had a few fancies maybe that were going for the National, you could still get 14-1 for him. So I thought, well, when I had a dabble last year, it was just before Cheltenham, he was 16-1 last year. I I thought, well, now he's already set his stall and says he may be going for it next year, you're not going to get 14, 16 to 1. But I thought, if you can get 7s, 8s, 10s, it might be worth a look at. Because when all's said and done, for Ollie being a massive favourite, his stable can go through a bad patch like Henderson has. They could get a virus, they could get anything. And if they have problems within the stable, he's always going to look to his Irish championship before he looks to the British one, because he believes in his home championship. That's the one he's going to look to. And I thought, well, you might get reasonable odds. Anyway, I've just had a look. 2 to 1. 2 to 1, 5 to 2. I thought, well, at them prices, I'm not going to bother. He's probably a good bet at 2 to 1 or 5 to 2. But I'm not going to tie my money up for the next 12 months waiting to collect on a bet that's only going to pay out at 2 to 1. And that's how much, folks, people are worried about him now. Because he's done it once and actually now stated he might look at it, going for it in a big way again next year, everybody's frightened because the ammo he's got behind him is fantastic. But like Walsh said, he's come from absolutely nowhere. He's come from nowhere to a champion. And he's looking like he's got a few years at the top table yet. He really has. But anyway, as I say, jokingly I said I was upset with him. I'm not upset with him at all. I think he's brilliant, Willie Mullins. Loved him, always have done. And what he's doing at the moment is absolutely phenomenal. It really is. I don't use that word regularly. I don't like that word.